All right, we'll start here. Oh, wait, I didn't actually turn on the stay tuned stuff so that everybody was seeing this because I'm an idiot. All right, here we go. We start in three, two, one. Welcome, everybody, to Geekvice episode 244, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph. That man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
And after being gone for 3 weeks, I didn't screw up the intro. How about that?
Hey,
Yes!
it's a win.
Oh man, it is so good to be back. Christmas and New Year's falling in the middle of the week, like it did falling on the Tuesdays, really made it hard to record. And then last week you had, your garage door broke? That's never good.
No, but I fixed it myself.
Oh, there you go. See, isn't that like garage doors are something that I look at and I go, man, they're just so many moving parts. Like, but then when you actually fix it yourself, you're like, you get done and you're like, yeah, I'm a badass because
Yeah,
that was fixed easy. You know, even though it might not have
yeah.
been easy, it still feels like when you're done that it took you no time at all.
It took an hour. I have the old type of garage door with the springs that run in parallel with the
Yep,
the path of the
the
garage door
track.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the big torsion bar that everybody says don't work on that yourself. You'll get your head removed. I have
Yeah,
the two springs on the side.
that's what I
One of
got
the
too.
cables broke.
Oh, okay.
So the door was like heavy. So
Yeah.
the garage door opener couldn't lift it.
Yep.
I could barely lift it.
Yeah.
And because we have solid wooden doors, we don't have the cheapo stuff you
Oh.
get now,
Yep.
the sheet metal things. So I replaced pulley, the cable. Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
bad. Sadly, because I went up and down the ladder 5,000 times, I was pretty sore the next day.
Right. Yeah, because garage door the openers are just high enough that's like I don't know about you, but I always have the problem like you can only climb on the ladder like so far, and then you're like too close to the ceiling, and but if you don't climb up there, then you're working like above your head the entire
Yeah,
time,
it's
and it's just
exactly
like
right.
your shoulders get sore, your back hurts. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah. The hard part is the cable comes down and attaches near the bottom of the door.
mm-hmm.
And of course the cable that broke is the cable closest to the wall, not the one closest to the middle of the garage.
Right.
So I had a hard time even seeing what was
Yeah.
going on, let alone fixing it. It had this old cotter pin that that was so rusted. I sprayed 1,000,000 gallons of WD-40 on it and straightened it out and had my needle nose pliers, and I'm trying to pull that thing out of there, and holy cow, that was tough. Eventually got it, and then got everything restrung, got the pulley installed, got everything hooked up, and that was a piece of cake. The hardest part was getting the old stuff off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my hands were sore because, man, I was gripping that stuff and I was just doing all this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I work in an office for a living, so I don't have the hands of a construction worker.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel you. I have the same kind of garage doors. I have the same, I don't have the torsion string. I have single bay garage doors. I have two single bay garage doors, and so it's got two springs for each garage
Yep.
door that
Same
and
setup for me.
yeah, I've had I think there was one time I had the spring actually break. So it
Yep. I've had that happen.
and I when that happened, and I'm like trying to lift the garage door to get out, and I'm like, Jesus, this thing is freaking heavy. And then and I get it up, and then I'm like, I get to work that day, and I'm like researching like, okay, well, how do you know which, a spring to get? Like, where can you get them from? Like, so I'm like, oh, you can go to Home Depot. And I get to Home Depot and there's like a whole bunch of them. There's like a whole bunch of different like weights. And I'm like,
Yeah, and it's based on the color that's spray
yeah,
painted on the end of the spring.
well, on mine, the spray paint had worn off.
Yeah.
So there was no color on my old ones. So I'm like, I don't know what ones I need. So I just got ones that were like, I got ones for like the heaviest door, the second heaviest door. I'm like, it can't really hurt if it's too strong of a spring. No, it puts less pressure. I found out reading later that it puts less stress on your garage door opener if you have stronger springs. And also, if you the downside is if you disconnect the garage door opener, your door won't go down at
Oh, really?
all. Like I have to like if I have to disconnect the garage door, I have to like put all my body weight on it to pull it down and then lock it in place. Otherwise, it won't it'll stay open forever.
It'll just come right back open, huh?
Yeah. Like, oh, okay. So maybe I got maybe too strong of springs, but yeah, it's all right. As long as nothing
Yeah,
breaks, I'm okay.
when I had a spring break on it, I was like, maybe I'm in over my head. So I paid a guy, and he came out and he said the springs that were on my door were actually too small for the weight of the door, which I bought. I believed him because I've had to replace the garage door opener once before because the little plastic gear was completely stripped out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I actually believe this guy, and so he put new springs on it. And then after I saw what he did, it's like, damn, I could have just done that myself.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and that's funny because I've had that gear. It wasn't the gear on top of the garage door opener, but the inside the garage door opener case. There's a
Yep.
there's a there like a spiral gear that turns another gear that turns the gear that pulls up the garage door, and that spiral gear had stripped the other one completely off, and I found out that it's actually really easy to replace that too. I don't have to buy a whole new garage door opener. I was able to just order that one part and pull it out of the old one, put a new one in, grease it up, and they're like, it usually happens because there's not enough grease in there, and that'll start stripping it. The plastics get too hot and it melts the plastic. I'm like, huh?
It, yeah, I looked. I couldn't find another gear for mine, so I bought a whole new one.
Yeah.
But when I took the case off, it was just filled with shavings
Yes.
because it wasn't a spiral gear. It was just like a sprocket type of
Yep.
thing that you would see,
Mm-hmm.
and it was completely rubbed smooth. It was
Oh
basically a
man.
washer.
Oh, that's funny. That is
Yeah,
funny. Yeah, like I open up the case and it's just like at the bottom of it is just I tip it like to try to get it out around my uh
and
ladder
it
that I
snowed
had
on
set
you.
up. Yeah, and I just got covered in it. I'm like, oh, this is fucking awful. But yeah,
Oh, the joys of home ownership.
right, right. So, but yeah, you know, owning a house is all good. It's not all bad.
No,
It's
I
just
can play my drums as loud as I want, and I don't have any like apartment neighbors complaining. So
right. Yeah, that's always
got
good.
that.
So let's see some announcements that are out there. If you guys aren't following the podcast arcade and the different things they're doing, those guys have got some great episodes up there. This I believe it's now I can't remember if it was last Saturday, if it's going to be this Saturday. Daydream instruction manual is going to it's get to know your hosts episodes, and this one is all about Eddie. So if you want to learn about our Podfather and the crazy stuff that goes through his head, you should probably go check out Daydream Instruction Manual and
And if you want to know even more about him, go to the Daydream Instruction Manual episode that came out on December 26th, and you get to hear him sing.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They did do that, and I saw it on so on that day I saw that they were going to do that live, and it came up, but I was when I saw it, we were just getting ready to walk into a movie theater to watch the movie we're going to talk about tonight, and so I wasn't able to listen to him live, and I haven't gone back to listen to it yet. And I need to because I, I think that would be entertaining.
The man can actually sing.
I believe it. That man has more talents in his left pinky than I have ever had in my entire life. Let's put it that way.
Ditto. Yeah, him and Billy and Eddie's wife sing some Rankin Bass tunes, so
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That is awesome. Man, that guy is incredible. He can do anything. I believe it. Eddie can do anything. So you guys should follow more stuff about Eddie because he is something else.
Yeah.
Uh, Other announcements or other things to keep an eye out for, please keep an eye on the YouTube channel. I am working on a video game playthrough of Civilization 6, a multiplayer with a friend of mine, Brady. Him and I we have played through many, many hours of this game so far, and we have many more to come. So episodes are going to be starting to show up on YouTube here in the next probably couple weeks. I'm working on fine tuning up the episodes now, and they will start getting released. I also have picked up some other games over the Christmas holiday, both board game and video game related, so I'm going to try to get some stuff up there about that. Um,
Nice.
so stay tuned for the YouTube channel because I'm going to try to do a little bit more with it and record some more video type stuff. So we're going to see. I'm working on my video editing skills, and I'm pretty proud of what I've come up with so far. So um, might even I've even got a camera that I can do some recording with. So um, it won't be 4K recording because it's a little bit older of a camera, but it does do video recording. So I'm gonna try it, see how it goes.
Wonder Bar.
Yeah.
Nobody needs 4K anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently it's a little bit harder to work with. My monitors aren't big enough to really do 4K, so I wouldn't be able to see it anyway. And I've been told you can't actually see in 4K. I don't know. I have glasses. I can't see in anything, so it doesn't.
It
And
depends on how clean or dirty my glasses are.
I got extra pixels in it from the dust that's on the outside. Yeah.
Everything's pixelated. Pixelated. Oh, I need to wash my glasses. Okay.
Right. Right. Um, let's see. We've got that going, and then I don't know. What else do we got? Oh, it's future episodes of this Geekvice show we are going to have lots of board game review type episodes coming up. Because I have got a total of one, two, three, four new board games.
Nice.
Four or five. I feel like there's five, but I can't think what the fifth one is. But yeah, five new board games. A couple of those are two-player board games. A one of them is two of them are cooperative, but one of them's kind of semi-cooperative because one person plays as like the bad guy and everybody else tries to work together to defeat the bad guy. So, really kind of cool. First time one of them is called Jurassic World or Jurassic Park Danger, and the rules are really complicated, but once you start playing, it's really not all that hard. But I'm gonna need to watch some videos on it. First time we played through it did not go so well. So, and there was lots of frustrated people playing. So that's probably not a good thing. But I think with some video help and some people that have already broken down all the rules, I might be able to play it a little bit better. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is sometimes the game isn't as complicated as the rule book makes it. I wonder if that's the case, because
I
there's times that I've read a rule book and I'm like, I still don't know how to play this game, and I watch a video, it's like, oh, that's what they meant.
Yeah,
Okay, now I get it.
yeah, exactly. I think that's a lot of what it was, and I it was one of those that everybody wanted to play that game right then, and we hadn't even opened it yet, and so it was like I'm trying to read the rules while everybody's sitting around waiting for me, and that doesn't always work very well either. It's better to have read through the rules and maybe played through it by yourself first and then gone into it, especially
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it played before. So, um, but
Yeah, a rules playthrough is always a good idea. I don't always
always,
do it. In fact, I rarely do, but when I do, it pays off.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. But enough of that. Tonight's episode is all about movies, and one movie in particular. We are going to talk about. I have been dying to talk about this movie. We're going to talk about the best Transformers movie since 1985. It's Bumblebee. It's awesome. It's amazing. It is so incredible. Bumblebee movie. It's directed by Travis Knight. He is the director, or was the director, for Kubo and Two Strings, which was an animated movie that got lots of high praise. It's starring Haley Steinfeld as Charlie, uh, Jorge Lindeborg. I think it's Jorge or Georgie. I don't know. As Memo.
Sure.
Yeah, and then John Cena. I can't. I mean, I got a wrestling co-host here, and John Cena is Agent Burns, and I will say the weakest part of this entire movie is John Cena. I, but are you really surprised?
They didn't give me much to work with either.
No, no, and he played the character he was supposed to play. Let's put it that way. I mean, he wasn't bad because he was bad. He was bad because the character was supposed to be that. I feel like the character was supposed to be stiff and unwavering. And that was John Cena. I mean, he was stiff and unwavering. He was better than the. I don't even remember the guy's name that was in the first Transformers. The guy who worked for Sector 7. Um, he's the goofy ass guy that was awful. Like he annoyed
John
the
Turturro,
yeah,
that guy.
yeah. He annoyed the hell out of me in that movie, and John Cena was better than him. So, but so premise of the Bumblebee movie here is that this movie is a prequel to everything Michael Bay has done. This goes through and tells you about how Bumblebee why Bumblebee went to Earth, what he did when he landed at Earth before he ran into Shia LaBeouf. So, and scene.
Yeah, it takes place in 1987.
That's right. And there's lots of nice 80s references in the movie that are I know as a kid from that time, I loved it. I thought it was great. And if you think about the timing wise, I mean 1985 is when the original animated movie was created. This Bumblebee comes to Earth in 1987. Maybe they're going with 85 was when the Cybertronian War was going on, which I thought would be kind of cool. Anyway, um, overall, what are your thoughts on this movie? Good, bad, big picture.
You're gonna hate me.
You
You are
didn't
absolutely. You're
you,
gonna hate my guts.
you didn't like it, did you?
I did not like it whatsoever.
Oh, this is gonna be so fun. This is gonna be so fun. Hey, it makes for it makes for more entertainment if we both like don't just gush over this. So let's go. Let's go back and forth. What did,
Okay, let's do this thing.
and so for everybody out there, we did not discuss this or talk about this beforehand. So
No,
this is
I
gonna
went out
be
of my way to not tell you what I thought of the movie.
this is gonna be completely off the cuff. Um, point counterpoint. Let's go. Let's do this. I'm excited.
Bring the rain.
Yeah, yeah. So what did you like? What did you feel like the weaknesses of the movie were?
Well, I'm going to preface this by saying I went into this movie wanting to like it.
Sure.
It had to be just mediocre for me to like it. I didn't like it.
Oh man.
So there was a very low bar set, and they didn't make it. They didn't clear it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so let's first talk about 1987.
Sure.
I think the people who did set and costume for it, all they did was watch music videos from
Yeah.
that time and dressed everybody. I didn't see one pair of acid wash jeans. I did not see one pair of those stupid white boots that girls wore in 1987.
Right.
I saw somebody wearing a Nirvana t-shirt that did not come out until 5 years later.
That is true.
So
I will give you that.
I had some issue. Oh, and she was wearing flannel. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess flannel was really more mid '90s,
It's
wasn't it?
a 90s thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
No
Um
arguments there.
so I picked it apart a little bit on that, but I did love the music.
Yeah. It, well,
I
and the
loved
music, yeah, the music
the
fit
music.
for the time period. I will give the music,
Yeah, they
like,
nailed the music. They got it right.
yeah.
So, like I said, I think all they did was watch music videos.
Y-
They went, "Oh yeah, people dress like this." No, only in music videos. Like the Mean Girls, the Mean Girls that she had a trouble with at school, which again another problem. They never fucking went to school.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that was, yes. Well, I think it was
they
in the
were
summer.
dressed. Yeah, they were dressed like the girls you would see in a hair band music video.
Yes. They did have big
Yep.
hair though, and big hair was huge in late
Oh
'80s.
yeah, we called it the mall claw. I
Yeah.
mean, they just this great big hair sprayed,
Yeah.
big bang sticking out. Yeah,
So
not there, wasn't there.
yeah, yeah, that's okay, but all right. So you've got the scenery did not meet your expert opinion of the late '80s, which I will give
well,
you. You have better memories of the late '80s than I do.
in
1987,
1987, I was 20 years old.
I was 7, so
I was 20, so I remember this stuff.
yeah, yeah. No, I will concede that point. You are correct. They
Yeah,
But what I would say is that this of all the Transformer movies, this movie was more about the Transformers than it was the humans. The humans did not stop a single Transformer. It wasn't the humans blowing up a Transformer. It wasn't the humans saving the day, other than doing what humans do. Um, this was about Transformers. This was about Transformers hiding in plain sight. This was about Bumblebee finding out who he was. And that
yeah.
is,
It even explained why his voice box was not
yeah,
working.
yeah, absolutely. Like, this filled in almost every one of the gaps that came from the first Michael Bay Transformers movie.
It did. I will give you that.
And it told a story that was coherent and,
Mm.
well, okay, what didn't you think was coherent? What didn't you get out of it?
Okay, so say you're telling a story,
Mm-hmm.
and then somebody reminds you that you forgot a piece and you go back and tell it. That's what this movie felt like.
You like they were filling it, like it was purposely filling in the gaps for Michael Bay's terrible storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And I kept telling myself while watching the movies, like, keep in mind this movie's for kids, it's for people younger than you, and it didn't help. Okay, so coherent story. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. I think the story did flow.
Sure.
I think the whole idea of him being sent, from their home planet to Earth was pretty organic. I think that worked out fairly well.
Yeah.
Um, I think the memory loss thing was kind of just convenient because they didn't know what else to do.
Well, you had to have a way for you had to have a way for him to not be a warrior, to not immediately go into this destruction mode like he was when he first went to Earth. I mean, otherwise you end up with a war story and not a I need to disappear. I don't actually know what I'm doing here. I'm trying to hide from people thing. I will.
I think you could have done it without the memory loss. I mean, his orders were to go to Earth and signal them when it's safe to come.
Right.
His orders could have also been go to Earth, stay low, don't let anybody know you're there, and then when it's clear, let us know and we'll show up.
Yeah.
That would have been just as viable.
Yeah. And you're right. And I will agree that the memory loss thing, and this is a problem I have with memory loss stories altogether, is sometimes, most of the time, they feel like a writing shortcut. Like it's a way to tell the story that you want to tell without actually having to really go through the work of telling the story. And I will completely agree with you that they could have handled that differently in this movie and not done the memory loss thing.
Yeah. I felt it was just more painful than useful.
Yeah.
Um, that being said,
But
the
the point of it being of Bumblebee, and they didn't have to do the memory loss thing, but I really enjoyed the point where they took him to almost like to death's door basically, and her having to, like, so that he ends up in a junkyard and she just runs across him in a junkyard. I liked that concept of it better than and I say this
buying
because,
it off a used car lot.
well, if you watch the first movie, he didn't even buy it off a used car lot. He went to the used car lot and then Bumblebee showed up there like he was looking for him. I didn't like that part of it. Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
because I went back and rewatched after we got done watching Bumblebee. I I was such Amber, my wife and I were in such a huge Transformers kick that we immediately we came home and watched the first Transformers movie again, the first Michael Bay Transformers movie, because we wanted to see how it fit, and there were I mean, it made me hate that after watching Bumblebee and then going back and watching it made me hate it even more because there were so many holes and problems that the Bumblebee movie did so much better. Like,
You know what I think would fix the franchise? To you, I imagine you think Bumblebee fixed it, which is
no,
fine. I'm
I don't
actually
think
glad you liked it.
I don't think it fixed it. I think it took the franchise in a better direction than where it was going.
Yeah. I think if they made Transformer movies with two directors, maybe the guy who did the Bumblebee movie does the parts where the military and fighting is not happening,
Yeah.
and then Michael Bay does all the military and fighting parts. Because that's what Michael Bay does.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first Transformer movies, you have to admit, when the military's involved, those are the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah. Yes.
Because he has a major hard-on for the military.
Yes.
And he's good at it.
But my argument to that is our military can't stop a giant fucking robot that is more powerful than anything else on our planet.
Right.
So our military shouldn't even stand a chance, which is what frustrated me in watching Michael Bay's stuff. Humans saved the day. Humans defeated the robots and saved Optimus Prime, or saved this robot, or saved that robot, or did this. If it wasn't for the humans, the robots would have never, like, the Autobots would have never won. That's Michael Bay's story. Bumblebee was Bumblebee saved the day. The girl just happened to know, hey, I can go unplug this thing and stop it from working. But if it wasn't for Bumblebee, everybody would have died.
Okay, so the unplugging.
Yeah.
She tried like hell to get that thing disconnected to shut the power off. And every other shot right behind her is the master switch she just could have
Oh,
pulled
yeah.
down. And
Yes. I did see that. I did see that. And that was like, I'm looking at that going, just pull the lever! Pull the
yeah,
lever!
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
No.
yeah.
No, that's there, but I mean that's there in all kinds. I mean we could go through those movies. Um, some of the
Yeah.
things that I thought this did really good. I mean we've talked about the story. I liked the um, I liked the growing of the characters as well. So like take Michael Bay's first Transformer movie and take Shia LaBeouf. His character from the very beginning to his character at the end is the same character. It didn't grow, it didn't change, it didn't nothing special happened to him. He didn't develop as a character. He was the same stupid pain in the ass, whiny
Yeah, but he
kid.
got to bang the hot girl.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he gets the chick at the end. But in this movie, Charlie starts out as this mopey goth, doesn't know where she fits, feels like she's a burden on everybody, like super depressed girl. And at the end of the movie, it's, you know what? I can survive in this world. Like, I am important. I do have, she's not worthless. She's not depressed. She has grown as a character, as a person. She is better for having going through the movie. She develops as a character. That like I enjoyed that. The I mean, and Bumblebee as a character grew. His appreciation for human life, which is a big thing with the Autobots. I mean, Optimus Prime says it in the first Michael Bay movie. He makes the comment, "We can't kill humans. We can't kill the humans." But it never explains why. We just can't kill them. Well, the Bumblebee movie showed why Bumblebee didn't want to kill the humans. Like, he showed his compassion. He showed, he grew as a character, as a warrior that you see in the opening scene that was going around smashing people, smashing robots left and right, to at the end of the movie, realizing, hey, like this girl is, the humans are special and there are other humans like her, and we should protect in the idea of the human race. They're good people and bad people, but we should really try to protect as many of them as we can. And that's what I took out of the the Bumblebee transformation from beginning to end, and that never happens in a Michael Bay movie. Ever.
No, it does not happen in a Michael Bay movie. But we're not talking about his movies.
No, but I thought those were important parts in this movie. Those are parts of the movie that I felt like were the character development within the movie. I thought was really good. It made it more heartfelt. It made it more
I
relatable.
I think the character they did the best job with is Charlie.
Yes.
Um, I would have liked a little more. I don't know if backstory is the right word, but a little more reason why she got to where she was. I know her dad passed away and all that other
Right.
stuff, and they alluded to them working on the Corvette together,
Yeah.
but I never felt it.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's I can. I mean, to each
And
their
and
own on
and
that.
and I
Yeah.
know they had a lot of ground to cover, and that's fine. But I also feel like the um, pseudo love story with Memo was unnecessary.
Yeah.
That time could have been spent
Hmm.
making us feel what it's like to be Charlie.
Yeah. It almost felt like they needed to have a sidekick for her,
Yeah,
and that's what he was the sidekick. And yeah, I didn't feel like it was really necessary. I thought his character provided a little bit of comic relief at times. I think one of my favorite scenes was at the end of the movie where he's like rides up on the little scooter moped thing, looks at John Cena like, I'm here. I already saved the world, kid. Oh, think you can call my mom? like like that one
no,
that
I liked Memo. I thought he was a good character. I just think that storyline
it
was kind of wasted.
yeah. Hmm.
Or swap it out with something else.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have done the same thing with her little brother being the sidekick,
Right. Right.
because his little brother was kind of funny too.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like they went, "Oh, here's a trope and here's a trope. Let's throw them all together and
Hmm.
we'll have this movie." And
Yeah.
it's the same problem I had with Aquaman. Spoiler alert: didn't like Aquaman too much either. But
I haven't seen that one yet, so I can't speak to
I,
that one yet.
Bumblebee, I just walked out disappointed.
See, and that's yeah. And now you were never a Transformers fan like
And maybe
originally.
that's the problem, is I
Because
did not grow up on Transformers.
and because one of
Kind of did. I grew up on Ultraman, but
yeah, right. Yeah. The
different universe.
one of the things well, my absolute favorite part about this movie, um, we talked about the costumes and the scenery and that stuff not fitting 1987. The one thing, or I guess the thing that I felt this movie did better than all the other movies, and was probably the most important thing, or got me so hyped up about this movie, was the opening sequence, the battle
Oh,
on
the battles.
Cybertron, when they started panning through and you start seeing all the different Transformers, both Autobots and Decepticons. And my wife was sitting next to me in the movie theater, and at one point, like, I grabbed her leg and she looked at me and just started laughing because I am like just giddy like a schoolgirl picking out the different characters that were there because you saw them in robot form and you recognized who they were. They stood out because like they looked like the animated show, except in real form, like machines. They were recognizable. I could look through and pick out RC, which was a pink like race car that was a chick. You could tell it was a chick and it was a robot. Like, you could pick out Soundwave is a cassette player that transforms into a giant robot. And he even had Ravage, a cassette tape, pop out of his chest, turn into a dog, and go after Optimus Prime that looked like the actual Optimus Prime. Like, the voice acting that was done for the robots, the look of the robots were perfect. And they were better than one. My biggest complaint with Michael Bay, other than his storytelling, was that you couldn't. My kids who know Transformers, they know who the Transformers are, couldn't watch a Michael Bay movie. Every time a Transformer came on the screen, they had to pause the movie and say, "Who's that?" in Bumblebee, they didn't have to do that. They looked at Optimus Prime standing there and go, oh, that's Optimus Prime, because he looks like the damn Optimus Prime toy we have. They they looked at, Bumblebee in his iconic VW bug form. He looked like Bumblebee. You had Cliffjumper, who died early in the movie. He looked like Cliffjumper. The only thing he was missing was his horns, because he had horns in the original, but it didn't really make sense why. Nobody understood why he had horns. But you know, you looked at the characters going through there. Shockwave was a Decepticon that I'm not even sure what he actually transformed into, because he was alien weaponry type thing. It, he looked like that. In the Bumblebee movie, he looked like the animated show. They looked like they were supposed to, and you could recognize him, and that is something that they can build on from this. They showed these characters, and that I that little bit right there, that opening sequence, if that was the entire movie, I would have been happy. I would have been disappointed that it would have been really only like 2 minutes long, but I would have been happy, because that opening sequence was the most. We always talk about like giving an homage and like tribute to the source material. That was the source material right there. That was Travis Knight going, I grew up loving these things, and here they are. And you can, and all the rest of you that grew up loving these things, here they are. Love them with me. But I
Okay.
mean, if you didn't know, like, if you don't know the different characters, if you didn't, enjoy the animated cartoon and the animated movie as much as me, that's like an Easter egg that you're not going to pick up on.
This is true. What it kind of reminds me of is a movie that came out, I think it was 1999 or 2000, called Deep Blue Sea.
Was that
And
with LL Cool J and the Sharks?
yeah,
Yep, I
yeah,
saw that one.
I love that movie.
Me
And
too.
for and I introduced it to a friend, and he's like, "Seriously, you like this movie?" It's like, hell yeah. Saffron Burrows gets eaten by a shark. What is not to like about that? And he couldn't understand that I liked that movie because one of the actresses I cannot stand got eaten by a shark.
I thought it was
I
gonna.
think I think because I'm not a Transformers person, I was not colored by the fact that the Transformers matched the cartoon.
Yeah, yeah,
So I needed something else, and
yeah,
I didn't get it.
yeah, and that's fair. And what I would really like for them to do, and I saw this a lot on Twitter and Facebook, I would like to see a prequel to this prequel. I would like to see them go back in time more, and I'd like to see them tell the story, like, tell us about, like, take Earth out of the picture altogether and just put it up on Cybertron. Just give us a, world, destroying battle. Give us how, like, tell take the humans out of it altogether, and just tell us a story about robots. I I would be fine with that, and I think you could get some good stories out of that, and I think it could hit home with people that same way. One quick thing, you're telling me that Saffron getting eaten by the shark was better than LL Cool J's like theme song to Deep Blue.
Oh hell yeah,
Because
yeah,
that theme,
without a doubt.
I mean, it was LL Cool J to a T, man. That theme song was just like, oh man, that had me going every time I hear it.
Everything about LL Cool J in that movie was fantastic.
It
I
was
will go on
so,
record to say that. But
yes.
nothing outshines Saffron Burrows getting eaten by a shark.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that is great. Oh, that is awesome. I love the fact that we just compared Transformers to Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, you're not going to hear a critic from the New York
Oh,
Times make that connection.
boom! There it is, people. But yeah, I think you're
Journalistic integrity.
genius. Yeah, no, I mean, you could be right, and that could be part of um, that could be what was, um, that kind of puts you at a disadvantage.
It did. But you know what? It did what it was supposed to do. It got people your age
Mm-hmm.
and their kids in the movie theater and gave them the movie they wanted.
Yeah, yeah,
And so from there, they hit it out of the park.
yeah.
For somebody like me, the movie wasn't for me.
Right.
And it wasn't supposed to be, but I
And
wanted it to be.
yeah, yeah. No, and I get that, and I get that. Yeah, it was. This was this was a tribute to Transformers from the 80s, from the
Yeah.
original source material. This was the movie. Um, how do I say this? This was the movie that the source material has been asking to get made. The fans of the source material have been wanting. This was that movie, and I think they can. I I do not believe that the franchise is fixed with this movie, because this was a prequel to those other movies. What this movie did do, though, is it showed a way to tell a Transformers story without grass exploding.
Without grass exploding.
I don't, go back and watch the Age of Extinction Transformers, and trees actually just exploded, not in flames and fire and sparks. I don't know. Didn't know that trees did that. Usually they just splinter, and you know there's no combustible material inside a tree.
Well, maybe they militarized termites.
Yeah. I mean, but it, the other thing this movie showed was that you can tell a story without action scenes that don't make sense. Go back and watch a Mark Wahlberg Transformers movie, and some of the fight scenes in there, they jump from scene to scene to scene, and they don't. When you start watch for them, the transitions don't even make sense. Characters just start in one place and end up in another, and with no explanation why.
Yeah.
This movie told a story from beginning to end, and it was coherent. It might have had some holes. It had some, it had some things that sure could have been cleaned up, but the story, the storyline itself worked. The story itself worked. The idea of, a couple Decepticons trying to track Bumblebee down and taking advantage of humans and their arrogance that they are the smartest people in the world, I thought was genius. Because, and I think John Cena says it best at one point. He's like, their names are Decepticons. Like, it's in their names. Why
Yeah.
are we trusting them? But humans are arrogant, and they think they're better than everyone else. And why why like them taking advantage of the humans' technology, and basically just piggybacking off of their stuff, giving them more technology, and just saying, you know what? I, to me, I thought it was like, hey, this is the start of, this is Al Gore's internet right here.
Yeah.
And I thought that part worked well. The Decepticons going after Bumblebee and him just fending them off, and it was Bumblebee that stopped them. It wasn't John Cena in his helicopter. It wasn't the army showing up with tanks. It wasn't F-16s throwing, firing missiles at them. It was Bumblebee. He
And
stopped them all.
surfing a tank in a flood, or surfing a ship in a flood and smashing them.
Yeah, yeah. I I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
And that's good.
Yeah.
So, dear listeners, what you should get out of this is, if you're as old as I am, don't go see Bumblebee. If you are his age, you're going to absolutely freaking love it.
Yeah, yeah. I did.
And that's really the first time, other than like a Disney animated, this is really the first time I feel like age made a difference.
Yeah.
Because I can just ask my wife, I can watch just about anything. And this is the first time I felt like, because of the era I grew up in, this movie had nothing to do with me whatsoever.
Yeah, and it really surprised me that you didn't like it, because you do enjoy popcorn flicks so much, and I felt like this was, to me, I felt like this was the perfect popcorn flick. Um, this this had storytelling, it had some action, it had some, drama. It had a little bit of everything to it. But yeah, I mean, I can appreciate your opinion. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
Oh no, and I'm not going to say you're an idiot for liking it, because you are the intended audience.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
And it showed.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. The funny thing is, so we had bought tickets for 3 movies that weekend. We went on Friday and saw Bumblebee.
Okay.
It's like, well, thankfully we have Aquaman tickets on Saturday. So we went and saw Aquaman on Saturday, walked out going. So we decided to skip Sunday's movie altogether, because we were like, oh, we're cursed. I don't feel like going to the movies anymore.
What movie were you going to go see Sunday?
Mortal Engines, is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah, the new
I read the books. I read the book and liked it. So I thought, you know what, I might like the movie. But it didn't get good reviews, and then after the 2 movies we watched that we felt less than great about, it's like, I don't think I can sit through this.
Yeah.
So we stayed home.
I can understand. Yeah, that one, I want to like it. I mean, I want to like the trailer. I want the story. I want to look at it and go, oh yeah, this is kind of cool.
And
But
it's
then,
Peter Jackson.
and it's Peter Jackson, and I just like, but then I go through I get done with the trailer, and I'm just like, ah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so on a completely different movie note, we did go see, and this is you're gonna find this really funny. So on the 26th, which was, what is that? That was Wednesday after
Wednesday.
Christmas. We went and saw Bumblebee. That Sunday, we went back to the movie theater and saw Mary Poppins Returns. And so, a little backstory on why we went and saw this. Mary Poppins was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. I absolutely loved that movie. Dick Van Dyke is my hero. I think he is amazing. Um, Incredible actor, an amazing dancer, like just entertainer
Yep.
extraordinaire.
I'll be right back. My cat is freaking out.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The cat's gonna eat something. All right, so everybody, um, while we're waiting for Kip to get back, we will just randomly talk about other things. And oh, there's a couple people watching, so if you have something you want to say, you should type it in the chat, and we can. I will take questions if anybody has one. Um, But yeah. Oh, and he's back. So anyway, back to my. Is the cat okay? Did it
So there
attack
was another
hard?
cat in our yard, and our cat was sitting in the window hyperventilating. So I had
Oh,
to go chase off the other cat.
nice. That's awesome. That's like my dogs, but my dogs are passed out because they've been outside all day today because the weather's
So
been
now
so
the
nice.
blinds are all messed up, and oh, it's back. She's hyperventilating again.
Oh, there you go. Leave it to cats, causing problems.
Heck, got the shit.
Oh, good times, good times. Speaking of that, I think I have my dog coming down the stairs now.
The joys of pet ownership.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. You start talking about that, and then I start hearing the thud upstairs, and it's my dog coming down the stairs. My big dog. Um, but anyway, back to Mary Poppins. So, when my oldest was old enough to kind of appreciate movies, the kindergarten age, uh, I showed him Mary Poppins, and he absolutely loved it as well. And so when we told him we were going to go to the movies on the 26th, his first instinct was, we're going to go see Mary Poppins Returns. We're like, no, we're going to go see Bumblebee. And he's like, oh, well, I want to see that too. But his first instinct was Mary Poppins Returns. So we're like, okay, so we got to go see Mary Poppins Returns. And if that is a very good tribute to Mary Poppins. It is really well done. Um, oh shit, what's her name? Emily
Blunt.
Blunt is amazing as Mary Poppins. She does an incredible job. Um, it, it was all really well done. As an
It makes me
adult,
happy because, like you, I loved Mary Poppins.
oh yeah, I like I said, Dick Van Dyke is my hero, and he is Mary Poppins. And so what is great is Dick Van Dyke is in Mary Poppins Returns. He has a small part, and you have to wait until the very end of the movie to see it, and it is great because he reprises his role from the first one, and it is awesome, or one of his roles, because I don't know if you knew this, but Dick Van Dyke had like 4 different characters in the original Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's really well done. Even the original um, Jane and Michael are the 2 kids in the first one. The original Jane is in the movie as well. She makes an appearance, a little cameo, not as Jane, as somebody else. Because this story, Mary Poppins Returns, takes place um, years
When they're
after.
adults, right?
Yes, Jane and Michael are adults now. Michael has 3 kids. Jane is single. Michael's wife and mother of his kids has died and passed away, and so there's nobody left to help. Like Michael's floundering, getting ready to lose the house that he grew up in, and so it's all that stuff. And Mary Poppins comes in to help make them remember that anything is possible, even the impossible. And
Yeah.
it's a really good story. Now, watching it as an adult, there are points where you go, "Oh, that's way cheesy," really cheesy. But if you go back as an adult and watch the original one, god damn, there's a lot of cheese in there. I
Oh,
mean,
hell yeah. Yeah.
so it is well done. I highly recommend it. I'm not gonna spend. I mean, we've already gone on plenty long enough. I'm not gonna spend another hour talking about Mary Poppins Returns, but it is. Um, so in the span of a week, I went and saw the Bumblebee movie, and I went and saw Mary Poppins Returns, and I loved both of them, and it was awesome. And so I had the exact opposite of a movie going uh, week as you did for your movie going weekend. So
Yeah, it's just the way it goes.
yeah,
But You know, you mentioned Dick Van Dyke being your hero and all that. That same era is when he did Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is also
Yes.
one of my favorites from
Yes.
then.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love Dick Van Dyke. I love him in all kinds of stuff. So he is so people talk about Justin Timberlake as being like the greatest modern entertainer because he does so many different things and does so many things well. Um, if it wasn't for Dick Van Dyke, there wouldn't be people like Justin Timberlake.
That's a
Dick
bold statement.
Dick Van Dyke was the original entertainer. I mean, he was the man he could act, he could sing, he could dance, he was funny, he had, he could do comedy. He was I mean, he was the guy. He was in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he was kind of Jim Carrey before Jim Carrey was Jim Carrey. As far
Yeah.
as the comedy goes, he was the physical comedian,
Mhm.
but he could also sing and dance and act and
Yeah.
yeah. So I agree. He was pretty well rounded. I
Yeah.
mean, I grew up on reruns of the Dick Van Dyke Show,
Yeah.
where
Mhm.
he was an ad exec or something,
Right?
or you know, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
watched
then
that
of
too
course
growing
every
up.
Thanksgiving you had to watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It was just required.
Right? Yeah, and I had the VHS of Mary Poppins that I wore out and then had to buy another one, you know. So, yeah, it was I mean, I would remember growing up watching Mary Poppins and then like after I got done, like I would try to pull my pull my pants down like to where I was like walking like a penguin and try to do the same dances as Dick Van Dyke, you know. Uh, Yeah, I mean, that
I
stuff was
like it.
awesome. It was awesome.
I like
So,
that.
if you
Look, we agreed on something,
there you
so it
go.
wasn't all bad.
If you'd like to try to refresh your movie going experience and enjoy something, go see Mary Poppins Returns. If you enjoyed the first one, you will enjoy this one. Keep
Good
it
to know.
just keep in mind that they are not trying to redo Mary Poppins. It is a completely different story. It is not a remake. It is not even really a sequel. It's just another story of Mary Poppins. And I thought that was the
It's like another Doctor for Doctor Who.
right, right. This is just down the road. Some other kids need Mary Poppins, and that was, and I thought that's what really hit it home. And I feel like they could recreate this Mary Poppins movie, and they don't have to do a sequel anymore. They don't have to do another sequel. They could do another, just another story of her helping out somebody else, and
I agree.
I think it could work. So
I totally agree.
anyway, all right, we have got to put an end to this at some point because we've gone on long enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation, and I hope that this was entertaining enough for you. I think it might actually be the first time that you and I had this differing of opinions on a movie, or a TV show,
Yeah,
or really anything that we've reviewed on here. A lot of the times you and I are pretty close to the same. One of us might be a meh, while the other one really enjoyed it, but not really as opposite as this one. I thought this was great.
yeah.
Wait,
I knew it was gonna go this way too, because when we walked out of the movie, it's like, oh boy, I bet Aaron's gonna love this, and I didn't.
yeah. Well, and you did a really good job of not telling me at all leading up to this because I had no idea. You had put nothing in the show notes, and usually you'll put at least a little bit of something. There was absolutely nothing, and yeah, so this was
Yeah.
awesome. And I
Well, I do want to say one thing that I really liked about it.
sure.
I'll leave it on a high note. Is because we're Stubbs members, we each got a little Bumblebee figurine that I
Oh
have
yeah,
on my desk for work now.
that's cool. That is so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I saw the picture that you had put on the messenger with our podcast arcade group. I love that. If you ever want to get rid of it, I'd be happy to take it off your hands for
I kind of figured you would.
you. Well, and the other thing that's really could be really good about this movie getting as much praise as it has is it might mean that more Generation 1 toys will make a comeback and we'll actually get to have some real Transformers that actually work and are fun to play with, as opposed to some of the stuff they put out during the Michael Bay stuff. Some of those Transformers were just awful looking. So maybe we'll get back to the good design. But enough of that stuff. All right, everybody, go check us out on our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekvice. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me over at Geekvice. You can follow that man over there at Kip Killigan. You can also go check out our YouTube channel. Easiest way to find us is go through our Facebook page. You can also search for Kip Morph on YouTube, and you can get to us that way. But go check it out. See some of the videos. That's where you can come watch us live. I'm trying to, whenever we go live, I try to post out on both Twitter and on Facebook a link to this video so that you can come join us live and you can chat with us all through our lovely YouTube channel. And of course, as always, you can reach us by email at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next time.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.